Virgo, this is your astrological and card forecast for the week starting October 2nd, 2016. And this also applies if you have that Virgo rising or that Virgo moon, so hello to you guys as well. This week we've got a fair share of squares in our astrology, and squares always bring the promise of great reward, but it will have an edge on it. So, kind of keeping up with a very interesting theme that seems to be going on the last couple of weeks is, let's make sure not to get too black and white in our thinking. Update your mind's eye to being able to see in glorious technicolor, because sometimes we hear rough edge and we think instant failure. Not always the case. And a lot of this is happening between your 5th house and your earned income sector, your 2nd house. And it's happening Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's happening on Friday. So what's happening on Tuesday, Wednesday? Well, we've got Mars, planet of action and energy, in your 5th house of love and romance, but it's also forming a bit of a clash with Jupiter in your earned income sector. And this honestly can talk about a need to pay attention to where we might be kind of burning through a bit too much, whether it's too much time or money spent involved in reinvesting in our business or a creative project, or perhaps, reinvesting in a relationship, again, a bit too much. Because whenever Mars and Jupiter come together, it can suddenly go into, when it rains, it pours, and sometimes when it pours, it floods. And so it's not necessarily a good idea to let things kind of get too carried away. Things are going to have bigger ripples during this time. It's not going to turn into like a fight or a conflict or anything negative, but what can happen is again, sometimes too much can lead to burnout. You can burn out at Disneyland. You can burn out, on your favorite movie. So be careful this week when it comes to how we are actually spending our time and our resources. Again, maybe over-investing, or maybe reinvesting too much, or putting too much into, again, our relationships and our work life, especially if we are trying to reinvest funds in something, as far as a personal business venture or personal education venture is concerned. Because with those funds come time, and it might actually, we don't want to burn out on something we enjoy. We don't want to ruin it for ourselves, and have to take a break from it because it happened too much. So that's just basically the edge on it. But there will be some good rewards anyway, because this is also saying that passion, that energy, and yes, that financial liquidity will also be there. Just do wise with it. On Friday, we do have the Sun in that earned income sector forming a square to Pluto in that 5th house of creativity and that, personal expression, and yes, to some degree, love and romance. And there could be some tense conversations Friday and Saturday when it comes to what we really care about in, either our business or in our relationships. Is this about love, or is this all a business arrangement? Is this all about, what has become less well-rounded in these areas? Are we doing what we love, or are we just doing it for the money? Some people, their passion is money. So I always think it's kind of interesting. Sometimes I give readings to people and like, well, what should I do? What am I passionate about? And I'm like, okay, we can do this. Well, that doesn't sound like it's going to make a lot of money. And it's like, okay, well, that's what you're passionate about. And I'm like, now, if you're just asking about money, if you're asking, are you just passionate about money? Are you start going into business for yourself or going into this field for the money? Nothing wrong with that. But pay attention to where we might be doing the wrong thing for the wrong intention. Pay attention to where you might be thinking, something that you want to do really, really, for the money is not making you happy, but it is bringing you the money. And you got to decide, well, is there a way to find your passion in another way? Sometimes your passion isn't something you get paid for. Not everyone who loves music is going out to be a musician. Not everyone who loves spirituality is or should be, a professional spiritualist in any way. And so what we got to look at here is where those things are coming into a bit of a clash and refine. All right? So let's have a look and see what's going on with your cards. Now, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Trickster. And this card can talk a lot about a need to pay attention to, when people are truly in a situation with you or an arrangement with you for selfish reasons that are becoming, I guess you could say a bit more oppressive to the overall goal or the overall plan. Okay, everyone has a little bit of a selfish reason for doing something, and the people who say they don't are selfishly trying to cover up so they don't look selfish, But with the trickster card, I think that what's happening is that this week you're going to be noticing a lot of ulterior motives in people in general. This could be clients, this could be friends. It doesn't mean anyone's evil. Again, no black and white thinking. No, but with the with the trickster card, it can kind of make you need to pay attention to, okay, this person really just kind of showed their true colors. She may have done it on accident, but she has shown her true colors. So now I need to pay attention to that, and so on and so forth. This is definitely not a week to go and try and cover up somebody for themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, they didn't mean that. What they really meant was this. No, they probably did mean that, and you should probably take a note of it. Okay? So it's like being honest with yourself and seeing people who they truly are, not trying to cover up for them when they are not really showing their best selves. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and your financial life, we do have the Knight of Cups inverted. This card may be kind of weird to have in the work area, because this is definitely talking about more social dynamics in the office, and less financial. Now remember, with the astrology, we've got Jupiter in your earned income sector, we've got the Sun there, and then later on next week we're going to have Mercury there. So financially, I think a lot of Virgos are going to be just sitting very pretty. Financially, especially between Monday and Thursday, are going to be gorgeous for you guys looking for new work and things like that. So that's probably why the cards are saying, well, let's talk about something else. And with the Knight of Cups, this is definitely talking about an issue where people are getting a bit too personal and not respecting your boundaries or your schedule this week. Again, these could be coworkers, these could be clients and customers. There could be also an issue with somebody, most likely a water sign, a Cancer, Pisces, or a Scorpio, who is perhaps getting a bit too close for comfort. There could be some problems with the person, trying to get too involved even in your personal life. If you've ever had those situations where like some nut job decides that, oh, we're friends on Facebook, I'm going to add your whole family and friends on Facebook. It's like, no, dude, we just work together. Don't do that. Like, it's one of those kinds of very intrusive sort of habits that I think may come out, and we have to work on, again, recompartmentalizing our lives because of this. For your communications with air, we do have the Knight of Wands inverted. And this card can indicate, a need for you to be prepared to defend yourself a little bit. When somebody who is not a friend or a relative, or if they are a friend or a relative, they're not acting like one this week. But this might not necessarily be so. This could be a rival. This could be a neighbor. Let's just face it, it's probably gone a little bit bonkers. Okay, because the Knight of Wands inverted can show up where a person has gotten into a very emotionally high, chaotic, distractible, and very poorly concentrated state. And when people get into a state, what can happen is, it's just like this whirling tornado. There's just no stopping it. And you may actually decide, it would be kind of you, and it definitely would be, to take it upon yourself to bring this person down before they do some real damage to themselves or somebody else. Because when you get the Knight of Wands inverted, again, it's sort of like this, it's incoherent, it's very disorganized, and you may even feel like if this is a friend or a relative, you've got to stop them from making an ass of themselves. Very kind on you. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Hierophant card inverted. This card is saying, Virgo, this week you've got to be okay with breaking some of your own rules, because some of your own rules could be actually holding you back. And that can be very true for a lot of people, not just Virgos, but certainly a case that us Virgos do need to pay attention to every once in a while, because sometimes our rules, our limitations, or some people they say boundaries for everything when they really mean to say rules, they're keeping us in and they're keeping people out at the same time. They're too limiting, or perhaps they're too selective, or perhaps they're too general and too sweeping. And they do need to be broken, because the boundaries sometimes that we put up to protect ourselves also block us in. And so this week, there's going to be a need, whether socially or professionally, to start breaking some of your own rules, if only for the sake that it actually would be in your best benefit. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Five of Cups inverted. Yes, I know we have all inverted cards, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the Five of Cups inverted is actually a good inverted card. Remember, no black and white thinking. Fight it. Fight it. The Five of Cups inverted is honestly a card where we see a bit of a recovery going on in the romantic life. This could be an opportunity to, patch up after a fight or an altercation. If there's an old discussion or an old topic that you really wanted to hash out and just kind of clear the air on with a sweetheart, it's a beautiful week with that. And the Five of Cups inverted can also indicate patching up and second chances with crushes and people that, we may have accidentally dipped away from or drifted away from. Because usually with the Five of Cups inverted, we're seeing something coming and filling a void. But it's what's missing, not just any old thing. So that is your forecast, Virgo. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, just because we have reversed cards, it doesn't mean anything bad. It just means an extension of the vocabulary of the tarot cards. Like I say in the tarot classes I teach, there are just as many positive, negative, neutral, reversed cards as there are positive, negative, and neutral upright cards. And so just always something to remember. And if you'd like to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com.